Did you know the guillotine was invented in the late 18th century? And do you know what else was invented in the late 18th century? Jane Austen. Welcome to the video. Hello everybody. So I did one of these videos a few months ago with Shakespeare, and at the time I was like, I don't know who I'm going to do next. But then I found a article on Jane Austen's routine, so I read that, I did a little bit more research, and this is now the video being brought to you. I want to preface again, this is not a time to be romanticised. If you were part of any minority in the 18th century England, you're not having a very good time. So I just want to preface, don't romanticise old times, even though their clothes look really cool and period dramas are very cool, because it wasn't as fun as a lot of them make it seem. There was a lot of speculation online exactly when Jane Austen woke up, but a lot of the sources said 7 AM, which is quite early for somebody who was middle class, upper middle class, as Jane Austen would have been considered. Her mum came from a titled family and her dad was a clergyman, so they were doing pretty well financially. Weirdly enough, her mother came from a richer background than her father, which was a little bit uncommon during that time. She would wake up, she would do like a hygiene routine, which normally involved a wash basin, some warm water and some soap, both cleaning the face and the hands. Hands were a massive thing to show class at the time. If you had pristine hands, it showed that you didn't have to do as much manual labour, and therefore were probably of a more higher nobility. Good morning. It is 7:30. I've just done my hygiene routine. I'll probably have a shower on later, let's be honest. I'm gonna get changed now and let the Jane Austen day commence. Then by around 8:30 AM, she would be walking around in the garden, playing piano or writing letters, probably interchangeably. I'm sure she didn't do all of these every single day. There's a few of the things she could have been doing during that time. Jane Austen was actually a really big gardener, which I think is such a nice little piece of information. And I think rereading novels, you can kind of tell. Writing letters was another big thing she did. She wrote a lot of letters during her life to her sister Cassandra. There's a little bit of controversy surrounding that area from critics. A lot of the letters were burned and destroyed by Cassandra to kind of keep that part of her sister's life private, which we love to see it. That is sisterhood, that's what we want to see. But a lot of critics were very annoyed about that because they obviously wanted a little bit more of a scope into Jane Austen's life, which, critics, you don't deserve anything into anybody's life that they don't want you to see. But a lot of those letters are out there, and you can read them pretty freely. She can also often be found criticising her own work to her sister, which I think is so cool and relatable to see that even somebody as infamous as Jane Austen was critiquing her own work, which is one, really important, and two, really nice to see that no matter how idolised your work seems to be, you're always going to think that there's something wrong with it. Creatives are forever self-critical people. High five for any self-critical creatives out there. I do genuinely think it's really important to get some outside time each morning. I feel like for me it helps me concentrate and be more present or whatever. So I can imagine for Jane Austen when she's writing letters, whatever she's doing, that it's really good to oh, I nearly said lock in, I've been infested, I don't like that. Back to people productive. To lock in, I'm not the demographic to be saying that, what the hell. And then playing pianoforte, which is probably something that a lot of people will link to Jane Austen's novels. Jane Austen had a big talent for music. Most women at the time were expected to play a musical instrument. Even some of the first music conservatoires were made for women to learn instruments. It's a little bit ironic, however, that the composers at the time that were the most proclaimed were men. So that clearly shows a little bit of a juxtaposition there. There was more women probably perfecting those skills, but still, even with those perfected skills, men were still finding it easier to reach the top of the game. I'm not angry. What are you talking about? So I practiced on the keyboard for a little bit. I'm not very good at keyboard, piano, whatever. I think it's really important to engage with different mediums of art, no matter if you're very good at them or not. I want to make a video surrounding that, but Do it because you find it fun. Do it because you want to do it, not because everybody's going to be like, wow, you really are brilliant. Don't seek that validation from us. Seek validation for yourself, guys. I believe in you. That is inherently a validation from other people as well, isn't it? Wow. The irony. The irony. Then at 10 AM it was time for breakfast. An 18th century English breakfast was defined by cakes and bread, toast, brioche, all of that kind of thing was really important and really prevalent during breakfast in those times. One of Jane Austen's favourite breakfasts was something called a bath bun, and we can see her writing to her sister about these. In one of the letters it says that she will be disordering her stomach with bath buns. Pound cake was another thing that could be quite commonly seen on a breakfast table during that time period. And drinks wise, hot chocolate was consumed very, very heavily. Chocolate actually has a long history of being anti-inflammatory, helping with digestion and fertility, helping yourself out to dementifier, all those good things. Okay, one of those was a lie. Guess which one? You could actually get hot cocoa prescriptions from your pharmacy. Which, damn, I would much prefer that than my penicillin that I always used to have to get from the pharmacy. Who's part of the tonsillitis gang? Something big in the Jane Austen household was tea. Tea was introduced to England during the late 1650s. So tea is here, finally! Hello, it is breakfast time. It is 10:15. It's basically 10 o'clock. I have no time management or time perception. Sorry. Now, this was going to be toast, because toast was one of the main things that was being talked about when talking about Jane Austen's breakfast. But our bread order didn't show up this morning, so I've got the second best thing, which is bagels, which I'm aware that that sounds like a very pretentious problem. Get a grip, Gemma. But yeah, we've got some bagels. This is very uninteresting compared to the Shakespeare one, where I was quite literally drinking beer at the breakfast, but Jane Austen's so much more chill. And instead of a beer, we have a cup of tea, which, as you could probably, like, oh, I was thrilled about. I want to ask you guys, by the way, what tea brand, if you drink English breakfast tea, or if you drink any tea, what brand do you go for? Are you a PG Tips? Are you a Yorkshire tea? Are you a Tetley tea? Are you a Twinings? Which, posh if you are. I want to know, because I feel like that says a lot about a person. I'm a PG Tips fan personally, but I think that is just because I've grown up with PG Tips, but I love a Tetley. I just like tea. I like any tea actually, but most regularly when I'm at home it's PG Tips, and then I steal tea bags to go back to uni with because PG Tips are really expensive. Also, what happened to the triangle bag? It's not a triangle bag anymore. Good that they're biodegradable though. We love to see that. Oh, that's hot. I'm going to drink my tea, enjoy my bagels. That's breakfast. Then at 11 AM, it will be the time that she worked on her novels. Most people know Jane Austen from her big works that include Emma, Northanger Abbey, Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, Persuasion, all of that, all of them. A lot of these have also been turned into very big movies and TV series. Pride and Prejudice 2005 is my favourite movie of all time. Not only does it have Mr. Darcy in it, who is an icon in himself, Keira Knightley plays Elizabeth Bennet. Sanditon, which is actually one of our unfinished works, was also turned into a big TV series. So even our unfinished works are iconic. What a legend. She also has a few released works from her youth, which include Love and Friendship. I'll take that. I will take that. Then at 12 to 3 p.m. it would be time for morning calls, which I know what you're thinking, but that's quite literally not morning. Time before dinner was called morning throughout like the day during the 18th century, which also makes an appearance throughout Jane Austen's novels. I remember the first time I read that and I was a bit like, bitch, it's literally not the morning, what are you talking about? Visits were supposed to be around 15 to 20 minutes long for people that you weren't that well acquainted with. Anything below that would be seen as rude and a bit disconnected, and then anything over that would seem like you're overstaying your welcome, which, I can't lie, I would be just stood there counting the seconds and minutes of the time I was in somebody's house, because I wouldn't want to appear rude, which would just mean I'm not listening to them. Sorry, I didn't do it, I wasn't allowed. Yeah guys, I'm actually a time traveller. I'm actually reminiscing on my past lives right now. These would be calls from people like business partners all the way to friends, family. If you're really lucky, you might get to see a man that you met at a dance that said he didn't want to dance with you because you're not handsome enough, but then you fall in love. If you're really lucky. Luncheon might happen in this time, and it wasn't like lunch like regularly, like me and you would know it. This wouldn't be a meal, but there would be drinks, small snacks. This might involve cold meat, cakes, that kind of thing. A cake recipe I saw popping up everywhere was something called reverse, rewind and speak. Was a rout cake, which was another word for a informal Georgian party where people kind of just turned up and had a party. Think of like a moorland party, but instead of children taking horse tranquilizers, it's people eating cake with wine and brandy and oranges and currants in it. I don't know which one I'd rather attend. I do know which one I would rather attend. Make your guesses in the comments below! Luncheon is such a fun word to me. I love the word luncheon. All I can think about when I hear the word luncheon is the first few pages of A Wind in the Willows. Because I remember hearing luncheon for the first time in that book. I think it's Badger who's making like a packed lunch, like a picnic to go out for luncheon. And I remember hearing that word and wanting to call lunch luncheon for like so long. Because I was like, lunch is such a boring word for it. Why would I not add the eon on the end? I had a thrilling childhood, guys. 3:30 to 4 p.m. would be dinner time, which is very, very early. I've been told in my life that I eat dinner quite early. I eat dinner at 6 normally. Luncheon wasn't considered like an actual meal. Dinner would be like the second meal of the day, so it was a lot earlier because you'd probably be quite hungry if you only ate breakfast and dinner in a day. Eat 3 meals a day. It would be 2 courses on like a normal regular day, and then 3 courses on a more formal occasion, whether this being having like friends around or something. This would be a soup and then some sort of veg and meat and then a pudding. This wasn't real meat, it was fake meat made out of mushrooms because I'm a vegetarian. Soup would often be white soup, which is referenced in Pride and Prejudice, and this is a meat gravy mixed with hard-boiled eggs, almonds and cream. And I'm not being funny, that sounds absolutely disgusting. And then main meal would be some sort of meat and veg. Jane Austen did write a letter to her sister at one point saying that she had a spare rib for the meat of the day, which, ooh, fancy. I don't know much about meat, I don't know if that's nice. And then for the sweet course, there'll be a lot of different things somebody could eat. One of the things I saw referenced and I got so excited about is blancmange, because I love blancmange. Not the way that they used to eat it though. So the way that they would like make it solidify was with gelatine made out of calf, like hooves. No. But then it would be garnished with some sort of jam, maybe a fruit compote. I'm a blancmange stan account. This would also often be served with wine. Jane Austen is known for really liking wine. Again, a letter to her sister. She said that she believes she drank too much wine the last night, and that's what she attributed to her shaky hands that day. The Austen family brewed their own beer and mead, as most people did during the time. They would play cards, charades, and read, often out loud to friends and family. Hello, please don't mind my really flat hair. I didn't blow dry it, so it's a bit... I've had a few glasses of wine, played some cards, and now I'm starting a new book, because reading was another thing that Jane Austen did in the night. Normally she would read out loud to like friends, family, whoever was over. I'm not reading to my family because I don't think they really care. But I'm starting a new book, so I thought I would read you the first few lines as a way of doing this part of the routine. So it's No Bed for Bacon, which is the story of Shakespeare and Lady Viola in love. So I don't know how historically accurate this is supposed to be, or if it's kind of just a comedic Shakespeare fanfiction, which the idea of that is fucking hilarious, isn't that? That's so insane. I love that. Apparently a beautiful written uproarious comedy. And it is a trivial pursuit through Elizabethan England, which is my cup of tea down to a T. That didn't really make sense. At the start of it, there's an introduction and then it says, to my wife, my second best bed. At the bottom, it says, warning to scholars, this book is fundamentally unsound. Which I think is hilarious. So, the first few lines, chapter 1. 5 o'clock of a summer's morning, chanted the watchman. 5 o'clock and all's well. That ends well. But this is the book I'm reading at the moment. I found it in a charity shop. And it was 2 books for £1.29, which a deal, we love to see it. And if it has Shakespeare on the cover, I must buy. So I'm going to read for a little bit now, and then probably have some more wine. Probably at the same time. Now we don't really know Jane Austen's favourite books in the world, but we do know a few ones that she had been reading. Self-Control by Mary Brunton and The Poetry of Sir Walter Scott were a couple things that has been documented that she's read. Around 7 to 8 would be the time if they were going out to a ball or a cards party, which by the way, we do not have cards parties nearly enough nowadays. I want to be invited to a cards party. That would be so fun. Let's all gather around, drink a few glasses of wine, play some cards, maybe bring out a board game, let's play some Scrabble, some Monopoly if we feel in the mood for a fight. So this would be the time where they're getting their like head on, redressed. Then 8 to 9 PM it would be like a light supper, maybe some more tea, and this also might be the time if everybody's left where she writes a little bit more. And then around 10 to 11 PM you, Tallulah. Hello. Oh. I give you a kiss, but you're a bit snotty. Yes. And that is the end of the routine, and therefore the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. If there's anybody else you'd like to see me like do routines of, leave them in the comments below. And with that said, please remember to click the like button, subscribe if you want, maybe leave a comment, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys. Do you know what Jane Austen didn't have? A singing fish. Is run out of batteries.